Welcome back to Trinity of Fitness Boot Camp. I'm your host, Coach Nye. So listen, before we get into God's Plan, the series, so the reason why I create these leadership courses, it's because I need you to understand your testimony is needed, right? And I need you to understand that in your purpose, when God called you to be, that means it is time for you to step into a leadership position. And so I do different series, and right now on the my live stream that I do, I'm doing Women of the Bible, showing their courage and what they did and how leadership stood out in them. So if you want to check that out, that's on YouTube. My YouTube is Chat with Coach Nye. So at every platform that I have, I teach leadership, but I want to make it more relatable. And I need you to understand that your testimony is so important. What God puts you through and what you go through in life is so important because people need to know, how did you prevail? How did you stand up in leadership? How did you become who you became? We don't just want to see your glory. We want to know your story. And that's why I take you through different books of people through the Bible, right? And so welcome in. This is God's Plan, leadership through the book of Daniel. So this is chapter 3, but I'm going to do a recap of chapter 2 that we did last week. So in Daniel's chapter 2, King Nebuchadnezzar, he had a troublesome dream, and he demanded that his wise men and everyone tell him what the dream was and interpret it. Tell them what he dreamed, and then interpret what it means. So when they could not, they all panicked. And a decree was issued to have them all executed. But there is Daniel, which is a leader, right? That he steps into his leadership mode, right? And what he did was he didn't panic. See, he didn't respond. He didn't react. He responded, but it was differently from them. I talk about the responding and reacting because that's part of the healing journey, right? When you start to heal, you realize that reacting is such a survival mode mindset, but responding, and it's not popping off, as I keep trying to explain to people, responding doesn't mean let me give you my 2 cents and I'm gonna just keep it real. Which responding means that you take a moment and you step back. You give some thought to it. You apply my RPI method, which is to acknowledge, release, practice, inner, explore, and empower. You take time to see what's going on before you start executing whatever it is. So that's what Daniel did. But instead of panicking, he remained calm. He gathered his friends and they prayed. They asked God for wisdom and revelation. See, God answered and revealed the dream and its meaning to Daniel. Now, when Daniel stood in front of the king, he gave God the credit for the interpretation. That was the most important part. He didn't run and beat his chest and say, yes, I am the wisest of the wise. No, he let it be known first because God's plan, the whole plan was for this to happen anyway. He knew Daniel would do the right thing, right? And he knew that he would get his glory, right? Through Daniel. So in order for him to be able to show himself to the non-believers, because, King Nebuchadnezzar, he believed in a lowercase g God. And so in order for him to understand who God is, he have to show it through Daniel, meaning that your God couldn't figure it out, but the God that Daniel served figured it out. So that's when I tell people, when you're in leadership, you don't have to do anything extra. All you have to do is continue to be you. People will want to know how to get that living spring water, right? They'll be curious and they'll go. All you have to do is continue to be the example, right? So he didn't take the credit for the interpretation because he sought God and God provided the solution. Now, Daniel was promoted because of this. See, God's plan was I need you to be the vessel. I'm going to promote you. The promotion did not come from King Nebuchadnezzar. It came from God because he did what he was supposed to do. So when I tell people stop looking for support from others, or stop looking for promotions from man, stop looking for man to support you and promote you and celebrate you. Let God work. Let his plan unfold, right? And then his friends was elevated as well. Something about that, when two or more come together, things change. That's why I always tell people, stop allowing your survival mode to get in between your God-blessed opportunity. Now, what if his friends would have said, no, we don't want a part of that? No, no, no. No, no, no. What if they would have bowed out? But they didn't. That's why they all was That's why they all were connected. So Daniel chapter 2 teaches that problems reveals what? Leaders, as we talked about. Prayer brings wisdom. God provides answer. And humility leads to promotion, influence. So let's get into chapter 3. Daniel 3, standing when others bow. That's what we're going to talk about today. So our leadership focus is courage, convictions, standing alone, and faith under pressure. Now, you're going to reference everything we're going to talk about in the book of Daniel chapter 3. So, as I said, we're going to talk about the leadership courage, the ability to stand when everyone else bows. In chapter 3, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were told to bow to the golden statue. And everyone else bowed because they were afraid. But these 3 men stood when everyone else bowed. Right? Leadership is not just about a position or a title or even influence. Leadership is about conviction, courage, and character. The real test of leadership is not how you act when things are easy, but how you act when you are under pressure to compromise. Let's look at this point. Leaders have non-negotiables, right? So as a leader, it's just things about us that should be non-negotiable. Even if you feel that you haven't stepped into your purpose yet, before you step into your purpose, as I tell you guys, it's a process that you have to go through. You have to go through the healing process. And the healing process is mean that letting go of the survival mode and stepping into the person that God called you to be. Meaning there's no more fighting anymore. There's no more dealing with what this world got going on, the trends or anything that the world say that will make you somebody. It's totally leaning on God. So when you get to that point, you learn that it's just things about you that's non-negotiable because now you know your self-worth. Now you see yourself the way God sees you. See, for them, they refused to bow. That was non-negotiable. We're not bowing before you. They knew what they believed and they stood on business. They made a decision before the pressure came. Now, if you don't decide your values ahead of time, pressure will decide it for you, right? That peer pressure, it'll decide it for you. So I want to ask you, ask yourself, right? Just what are the non-negotiables in life and leadership? What are yours? Is it your integrity, your faith, discipline, your honesty? Is it respect, your health? Is it your family, your growth? What is it? What are your non-negotiables? That's what I really want you to think. We never take the time to really think about it. What are my non-negotiables? Because we're so quick to shift things to please others. But once you go through the healing journey, you learn no more people pleasing, right? We don't do that anymore. So standing makes you stand alone. Yeah. When you stand for something, it makes you stand alone. Everyone else bowed. They stood anyway. Leaders are often different. That's what makes you stand out. A real leader, see, you have the ones that become a leader on their own because they look good. They like the title. They like all that. And then you have the ones that was just born with it. It's like Maybelline, baby. I was born with it. You got those ones, right? That's not trying to get in the trend. It's not trying to be like everybody else. They're different. See, those are the ones. It's when things happen when you get to see the real leaders, because most time we sit in the back and we just sit back and let everybody do what they want to do. Whatever it is they feel they need to do. If they want to be seen, we let them be seen. But it's the moment when fear strikes, when fear enters the room, when chaos enters the room. This is when you see leaders stand up, the real leaders stand up. This is when you see the real leaders stand up. So you cannot be a strong leader and always fit in. That's what you have to remember. People will try and make it seem like you're not a good leader, or you can't lead me because you don't sound like this pastor, or you don't sound like that motivational speaker, or you don't sound. No, I am me. I'm going to lead the people that God are going to send my way. That's what you have to remember. So the fire revealed God. This is God's plan. That's why I named this series God's Plan, because in every chapter, it leads with God. And he came through the scene in the beginning and he handed over. See, everyone like, oh, the king just went and took over their land. No, God handed it over. That's the plot. right? That was the whole thing. So the fire revealed God. They were thrown into the fire. God did not stop them from being, or God didn't stop them from going in the fire. He didn't stop them from going in the fire. God joined them in the fire. He became the fire. He is the fire. He's omnipresent. He's omni-everything. He's everything. So God joined them in the fire because he became the fire. They came out without even smelling like smoke. That's a God. That is a God. God is all in that. Nothing. Listen, when I thought about that and when I read it, I was like, great day. You ain't even smell like smoke. Like the whole thing from everyone else's eyes, from the physical eye, there was heat, fire. There was all of that. But God's eyes. See, everybody, even when they got close to it, they were burning up. Because in the material world, in the physical world, this is what you see. But in the spiritual realm, all they seen was peace. All they seen was God. Because once you heal and you step into purpose, you don't see the ugliness of this world anymore. You don't see the chaos that's going on in the world anymore. You don't worry about the things that's going on in the world. What you see is peace because you learn to focus on what's important. And that is, right, self, because the kingdom of God is within you. God can't use you unless you understand who you are and you're focused on you. He'll use you to help others, not you trying to help everybody else by being selfless. No, he'll use you once you understand who you are. So God does not always remove the fire. Sometimes he reveals his power through the fire. And that's how he showed up. He showed how powerful he was through fire. Now, your stand will influence others. I need you to understand that. I know a lot of you have people that, listen, they want to fight everything that you say. If you say the sky is blue, but someone that's well-known say it's purple, and you're trying to talk sense to them, and I know you get frustrated. As a leader, you get so frustrated, but I'm going to tell you something that I learned while I was in the military is that this lieutenant told me, because I was getting so frustrated. I was trying to get some soldiers promoted, right? And I'm trying to get them set up. But the problem was, see, I was younger than my soldiers. I fast-tracked in the military. I was younger than my soldiers. And so I'm trying to get them where I am. And I would get so frustrated because I'm putting out information. I'm giving this information, but they just won't absorb it. And that lieutenant told me, he said, listen, everyone... You take 5 soldiers, at least one of them will listen, and you have to be okay with that. You're not going to change everyone. And that stopped me from being so upset because it made sense. My job was just to be the example, and that will influence the ones that want to change. So your stand will influence others. The king saw God because they stood. The king saw God because they stood. This courage changed the environment. One person standing can change a room. That's it. So they stood, everyone else bowed. They entered the fire chamber because that's what was supposed to happen. You didn't bow, you entered that. The king watched what he seen with his physical eyes, watched them go in, but what he saw when they came out, he seen with his spiritual eyes. He saw that only God can do that. He knew his lowercase g God couldn't do it, right? So leaders influence environments. Environments should not influence leaders. So it doesn't matter where you are. Allow people to be who they are. You don't change who you are to fit in. So I say, like the chameleon, a lot of people like to say, I can go anywhere and fit in. Well, going through so much studying and learning new things, I realized that is a toxic trait. And what do I mean by that? Because you can go anywhere and fit in. Why would I want to change who I am? I can go anywhere and I can fit in this group. That means I have to change to fit into that group. I have to change here. It's something about me that I can just get along with everybody versus I can go anywhere and be comfortable. I don't have to change me. I don't have to sit at your table. I don't have to sit at your table. Baby, ain't none of y'all gotta like me. I'm comfortable being here because I know who I am. So let's get into the RPI reflection. You know, this is what I like. It's the 5 pillars. The RPI is the 5 pillars of what the Foundation for Trinity of Fitness boot camp, right? So the 5 pillars is to acknowledge, release, practice, enter, explore, and empower. So let's get into A for acknowledge. Acknowledge an area where you feel pressure to compromise, to quit, or to fit in. I want you to acknowledge that. Then R for release. Release the fear of rejection, fear of being different, and fear of standing alone. P for practice. Practice standing firm this week in one area. So here's a couple. Speak up, keep your discipline, maintain your boundaries, tell the truth, and do the right thing even when it's hard. Those are some examples. But I want you to practice standing firm this week in one area. Now, the inner explorer is your self-reflection, right? I want you to ask yourself, where in my life am I bowing when I should be standing? Where in my life am I bowing when I should be standing? And E for empowerment. I want you to write this. I will stand even if I stand alone. The reason why I have you write out the empowerment statement, right, is because you're declaring it, right? It's a decree now. It is so. That's what you're saying. It is so. I will stand even if I stand alone. Now, your journaling prompt, I want you to journal for like 10 to 15 minutes, at least 10 to 15 minutes. The reason why I give you guys so many journaling prompts and homework and things to do is because if I can keep you to focus solely on you, then you can learn how to disconnect from the world. I'm not only teaching you here, I'm teaching you full body. That's what Trinity of Fitness is. I teach you how to heal spiritually, mentally, and physically. So if I can keep you so in tune with yourself, then you slowly learn to disconnect from the things that mean you no good. So for 10 to 15 minutes, I want you to just journal. I want you to describe a time when you felt pressure to compromise, to fit in, or go along with others, even though you knew it wasn't right. What would standing look like in your life right now? What was standing, if you stand for it now, you finally standing up, what would that look like in your life right now? That's what I want you to journal about, okay? Now you got your meditation prompt. Listen, meditation, I don't want you to go into meditation if this is your first episode of, your first time hearing me. I have a meditation episode if you guys go and look at it. Meditation is not as hard as people make it seem. People make it seem like you have to be elevating on cloud 9. You got to be out of this world. You got to be so focused. You got to, you're not even going to be here. You got to, no. It's not a crisscross applesauce. It's not, you can do those things. You can lie down. You can sit. You can, whatever is comfortable for you, right? I'm not trying to get you to get out of this world into a whole new dimension. I'm trying to get you to focus on you. Because if every time that you meditate, you're learning how to become present. That is the whole purpose of meditation. What happens in the present time? Well, that's where God dwells in the present time. It keeps you away from anxiety, depression, and because you're in the present time. And in that present time, that's where God is. When you feel like God is not there and you feel like, something's going wrong, you need help, you feel alone, well, get in the present time, because 9 times out of 10, you're in anxiety, and anxiety is future thinking. Get in the present time. That's the whole purpose of meditation. I told you, I'm going to help you. So I want you to sit quietly, and I want you to reflect on this statement. I have the courage to stand when others bow. I want you to focus on that. I just want you to reflect on that, because what's going to come to mind is every time somebody did you wrong, or every time that you bent for someone and they did you dirty, or, whatever it was, this is the time that you're going to sit and you're going to look at that and say, okay, you know what? And what you're not going to do, I'm teaching you right now, you're not going to get mad, because it's going to bring feelings. When that feeling arises, I need you to acknowledge that feeling that comes to you when you think about how you bowed instead of standing. I want you to remember what that feel like, right? And now when it comes up, I want you to put the correct emotion to that feeling, because it's not anger, right? It's not anger. That's secondary. We want you in primary. Maybe you was hurt. Maybe it made you, maybe it hurt your feelings. Maybe you were disappointed. Now let's think about that. So you're not angry because anger will give you a reaction, right? Or a response, a negative response. So what happened is what they said, that feeling that you have, what it is okay, let's say for instance, disappointment. You were disappointed that you did this for your family member and they did this to you. You bent for your family and they took advantage of it. Okay. That hurt your feelings. So the correct emotion to give that feeling that you feel is sometimes you just need to cry, right? Because if my feelings hurt, what do I do? If I'm sad, what do I do? I'm going to give it the right reaction. I'm not going to overreact. Now, don't go over there overreact and snot and crying. But if you got to snot and cry, go and snot and cry. But what I'm saying is I want you to acknowledge it the right way because we want to do away with the secondary emotion. The secondary emotion is what keeps us in trouble and bound to survival mode. We're doing away with that old life. We're doing away with it. You are brand new because you found Coach Nye. So that's what I want you guys to. I have the courage to stand when others bow. Now we're going to do the 4, 4, 4, 4. 44, 44. That's the breathing technique that we're going to do. And what I mean by that is you're going to inhale for 4 seconds. You're going to hold it for 4 seconds. You're going to blow it out for 4 seconds. And you're going to do it 4 times, okay? 4 times. And as you inhale, I want you to say, God is with me. Hold it. Exhale, I will not bow. God is with me. I will not bow. Bow 4 times. And once you get to that state of mind of peace, of quiet, right? Now that you're in your meditative state, right? I want you to repeat this. I am strong. I am courageous. I stand for what is right. God stands with me. Because now I need you, what you're teaching your brain is, this is the new. I am strong. It's no longer I am weak, so I got to go alone because fear is kicking in. Who else going to feed my kids if I get fired? Who else is going to do this for me? I got to do this for the family. I got to take one for the team. No. I am strong. I am courageous. I stand for what is right. God stands with me. Well, what is right? We've been living this way for a long time. We've been living this way for a long time. Are you going to take a knee? Do you feel like that, you need to step away? This does not reflect you. What is right to you? If it's right to you and nobody else will do it, don't worry about what others will say. Stand for what is right. Right? God stands with me. Now your homework. I know I gave y'all a lot of work. You know why? Because this is a whole week's worth of work. Until next Thursday when we come back to class again. So yes, you get a lot to work because it's so much that I want you to focus on you and you alone. So your homework is to complete, right? Complete this before our next class. I want you to read chapter 3 of Daniel. I want you to write down your top 5 values. Identify one area where you need to stand firm. I want you to journal twice a week, twice this week about courage and leadership. And then do one thing this week that requires courage or discipline. Okay? Now let's do our declaration. I want you to repeat after me. I am a leader with courage and conviction. I will not bow to fear, pressure, or compromise. I will stand for what is right, even if I stand alone. God is with me in every fire, in every challenge. I am strong, I am faithful, and I am courageous. Through my life, God will be glorified. All right. Now, I'm doing this end of class discussion questions with you guys. Now you can either put it in the comments or you could just journal it down or you could just have a tabletop discussion with your friend. Tabletop talk discussions are about what you learned as you heal. I can never get that out of the way. But as you heal, right? A lot of people think when they start to heal and, they want better, they just go and cut everybody else off. And they just like, no, you're not helping me get to the next level. No, I'm done. No. You're not supposed to do that. And I'm telling you that because you are the example. You don't have to put up with their mess. You don't have to sit at the round table with them. You don't have to listen to their gossip. You don't have to do all those things. You continue being who you are. And eventually, the ones that want to change will change. So if you guys want to go hang out and go out to eat or whatever it is, these are things that you can bring up to the table to change conversations. This is how you help the next person heal. Now, remember, everybody's not going to like you. A lot of people is going to say, oh, you think you better than now you this and now you all one with peace. You know how they do. They're trying to make fun of you, but make it cute. No. Jealousy is an ugly spirit. So I'm going to give you 5. What are your non-negotiables? 2, why is it hard for people to stand alone? 3, what does courage look like in leadership? 4, where in your life do you need to stand right now? And then 5, what stood out to you in Daniel's chapter 3? Now, that is the end of class. Listen, I really appreciate you guys for listening. If you have not downloaded or you have not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. If you want to catch up on the Power Within Leadership course that is bi-weekly on YouTube, I go live on there. The next one will be next Monday. Yeah, this Monday that's coming up. So check me out there. My YouTube is Chat with Coach Nye. Hit the notification bell so you can get notified when I go live. Also, every Sunday over on my YouTube Chat with Coach Nye, I go live and I teach about the women in the Bible leadership. And we just finished, we did Deborah already, and we did Esther. And so you guys, if you missed any of those episodes, you can catch up because I put it in my playlist on my YouTube. I have the playlist Women in the Bible. I have the playlist Power Within. I have the playlist Cozy Chat with Coach Nye. The playlist 31 Day Inner Transformation. Listen, it doesn't matter. You're going to get some teaching, whichever platform that you find me on. So whatever playlist you go into, you're going to get some kind of teaching. If you're driving, whatever you're doing, just put it on play. Let it go. You don't watch the video and drive, okay? But just put it on play. And then here, as we just did the Daniel, God's plan, but I also did the Proverbs, leadership through Proverbs, right? So that's on here as well on my podcast. So you can go through the episodes and find those. It's 31 day journey through the book of Proverbs. So you guys can check that out. Follow me on TikTok. I do a teaching. So starting Monday on the 13th, 9:30 Central Time, I will be doing the Lead Her morning show on TikTok, and my TikTok is Chat with Coach Nye. Everything was Chat with Coach Nye. I wanted to keep it simple. Chat with Coach Nye over there. So basically, it's going to be my morning show that I come in and I'm teaching. I'm teaching women about healing and becoming a better version of themselves. So it's another teaching course. It's all about leadership and healing. That's all I promote, and that's what I do. And then on YouTube every weekday as well, but it'll be at 11:30. So I do 9:30 on TikTok Central Time and 11:30 Central Time over on my YouTube. I'll be live teaching the same information. I'm just going to have 2 spots that I'm going to do it. I'll also be teaching on Twitch. So if you guys can, go ahead and catch it. Like I said, my YouTube is Chat with Coach Nye. I am on all streaming platforms. All my social media is Chat with Coach Nye. Listen, as always, if no one told you today, I'm telling you now, I love you and I'm so proud of you. Remember to pour into yourself before you pour into others, okay? See you next time. Don't forget your homework. And the next time, you guys go ahead and bring your notebooks. Have some time to sit for yourself. I want you to be so focused on you that is nothing that can interrupt you. So plan the time ahead, okay? As always, love you. Coach Nye out. God's plans are better than your dreams.